Hey, this is Ken Casey from the Dropkick Murphys, and I love the Grandstanders! Take it away, kid!
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I'm joined by my usual cohorts, the Professor, Ross Stevens, Uncle Joe McLaughlin, and he's JP's first son, Tim Hoey. Well, we have another great show for you tonight. So, boys, let's get her started. We start with the New England Patriots, and sad news coming from the Patriots land this week. In fact, your son Colin cried, right?
I think this is his Bobby Orr.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we have to understand,
That's a
Rob
great call.
Gronkowski retiring, he played for 9 years, he was a star. The man was like a storybook character. A lot of people who are young, this is all they know is Rob Gronkowski, and it's an upsetting time for the area.
I think Tim put his finger on it. You know, for me, the magical athlete of my lifetime was Bobby Orr,
Right.
and he blew like a comet over the horizon and flamed out fast. And I think Gronk's the same way for these kids, right?
Yeah. Gronk is sad passing because he gave his everything to the game. He was just 100%, 110% every single second he was out there.
Well, Tim, he was a combination of old school and new school, right? He looked like an old school 50s player, the way his face, the structure of his face, and the way he played. But, of course, nobody could dance rap more on the sidelines than he could.
Played in any generation is the way they talk about him.
Right.
He could have played in the 40s. He could have played in the 60s.
Right.
And you know what I loved about him? He played with like a genuine enthusiasm.
Yeah.
There was a football coach who said he met him when he was still in high school. And when he had a conversation with him even back then, he was just like full of joy and like a big rambunctious teddy bear kind of guy.
Yeah, and Russ, even though, at the end of his career he faced a lot of injuries, he was key to the playoff run.
He summoned whatever he had left from deep
Right.
in that Kansas City game and then in the Rams game.
Yep.
And we don't win those games if Gronk
critical
doesn't
plays.
have a flashback to old-time Gronk.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And he has a great name. That's a football name. That's Bronco Nagurski. It's
Absolutely.
Rob Gronkowski.
All right, so Joe, boys, how does he rank as your favorite all-time Patriot? Is he up top 3?
Do we have to let's take Brady off the table.
Yeah, Brady,
Like,
of course, is
Brady's
number
given
one.
us so much joy that
And he has to
can't ever-
retire. We'll make
Right.
it like Hall of Fame rules.
Right.
You have to be retired.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, so
Yeah,
Brady,
top 3.
Top 3, Russ?
100%. Yeah, I can't think of anyone I'd put in front of him necessarily.
Mike Haynes was great. Obviously, he was from my era.
Yeah, right. No,
He was
yeah.
but not a long time Patriot. Yeah, Gronk's in the top 3, absolutely.
Okay, so now all of a sudden we're in the market for a tight end. Iowa actually
Or
has
two.
Iowa has 2.
How is that possible?
Yeah, right. It has 2 quality tight ends that could maybe go into the first round. T.J. Hawkinson, and that's a perfect name.
That's a good name.
That's a
But
good
Noah
name.
Fant,
I mean,
not so
we
much.
Massachusetts people can just absolutely butcher
Hawkinson.
Hawkinson from Evan. Hawkinson. So, right, it's a perfect name to me for us,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, T.J.
They say he's going to be gone, though.
Yeah, or we could actually trade up, right? Or Noah
Fant.
Fant. Okay, that was on the
Close
computer.
enough.
Yeah, right.
W.
Yeah,
You're very close.
Noah just sounds. No, we're not doing Noah. No, exactly.
Are they similar type players, these two guys?
No.
Or-
No. They were like the Hernandez and Gronk
Yeah.
of the Iowa.
Can you imagine if Hernandez hadn't gone his wayward ways? That guy, he was right with Gronk talent-wise.
was.
I don't want to change the subject too much, but he was incredible
You're right.
also.
And there's some thought to say that the Patriots might double up on tight end in this draft. Like they drafted Hernandez in the same year
Yeah,
they drafted
right.
Gronk. The Pats
Gronk.
could double up, pick one of those guys, move up to get one of those guys, and then pick another guy 3 rounds later.
But does a system need, with Tom Brady, does it need
Yes.
a quality tight end?
Yes.
As much from the running game as from the passing game right now, because the way with Sony Michel kind of,
He likes to go
coming
outside the
to light.
tackles, and you need someone to block out
But
there.
you understand the tight end position is the most grueling position in professional football because once he blocks, he then has the commitment to go out and get a pass. So everybody's smacking him.
Just remember, the drive that won us the Super Bowl, what they ended up doing is they ran that same play over and over, and the reason why
Double
that
tight
play
ends.
worked was because they had double tight ends, and because Gronk is Gronk, he forced the Rams to put a run defense out against a passing offense. Right? This offense depends on that kind of flexibility where they could run it from a formation or pass it from a
Well,
formation.
if you're looking at they had some quotes from opposing coaches. You couldn't go light like in a passing defense
Right.
with Gronk,
Right.
and if you went heavy, Gronk would hurt you going out for a pass.
That's right.
And nobody analyzes the blocking schemes more than Uncle Joe. I mean, he spends weeks at home
Charting
studying that.
No,
right?
no,
His wife calls me and complains. But the San Diego Chargers, the first playoff game of the season, you could consider that Rob
they pushed them
Gronkowski
around.
was the MVP of that game
Yeah.
without
Right.
catching a pass.
Oh, yeah. Like we said, he got Sony those yards outside the tackles. He was smashing people.
His blocking was incredible in the playoffs.
So he's definitely in the Mount Rushmore of the New England Patriots.
From a
I
couple
think
of
so.
perspectives, from a talent perspective, from a personality perspective too. This guy was fun.
Yeah.
Fun to
From
His
beginning
to
to
career
watch.
was way too short. He played way too few games.
But for a tight end, 9 years, I mean, how long did Ben Coates last? Probably not much.
Some of those guys last longer. Tony Gonzalez did, but he wasn't the blocker.
Once
Yeah,
they
but
started
they-
calling the push off on Coates, it was
But they go
over.
out wide and stuff after
Exactly.
a while.
Now,
yeah.
The best tight end of all time, the guy the award's named after,
Mackey.
played
Right.
about 20 years. He was
Yeah,
a long
right.
time.
Well, there's a rumor now that they could look to. Greg Bedard had in the Boston Sports Journal that Kyle Rudolph has the sort of the physical makings of a Gronk, and depending on what happens in the draft, you could see them go. I think they absolutely need to have a bankable tight end on this roster.
Oh, yeah, that's what their offense is schemed for. Absolutely.
Now we're going to talk about his possible comeback.
No, we'll do
No,
that.
no,
Phil.
no.
Oh, we've got
We-
plenty of time
okay,
because he's
all
not
right.
coming back next week. At least we know
The
now.
season doesn't even start for 6 more
All
months.
right, Ryan Allen signs a team-friendly contract, so he's back. Is Gostkowski back, or all of a sudden we're going to see signs with some random team?
They've got 12 draft picks. They may draft a kicker to give them competition.
I don't think you could lose two guys whose last name end in ski at the
Yeah.
same time. There's some rule
Yeah.
in the NFL, right?
You have
know
to
you
have so
wouldn't-
many Polish
I know
names
you
on
wouldn't
your
leave
team.
Exactly.
like a Sully would definitely. If there was a
Yeah,
Sullivan, you
no.
wouldn't lose two Sullivans.
No.
You just know.
Every time he kicked in the playoffs, I bit a couple of fingernails down to the nub. But I think Belichick does have faith in this guy.
All right, well, after the break, we're going to the Boston Celtics, the 17-time world champion Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
Well, the Italians, Gino Marchetti was a great name.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help. And slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
All right, we're back with the Boston Celtics. Okay, it's
Do we
time
have
to bash.
Do we really have to again?
All right, look, it's time to bash Kyrie Irving. But with this stat, the Boston Celtics are 5-12 in the last 17 games that Kyrie Irving has started. Boys, he's supposed to be a superstar. He's supposed to be, at the very least, top 5 NBA player. You can't find a statistic of a guy top 5 that has that glaring of.
How about that
of a
Kemba
negative
Walker?
stat.
Every time we play him, and he's a free agent this year,
Is he?
God replace Kyrie
You can't do
nicely.
it though.
Would
The
you-
finances don't work.
Would you take Kimber Walker
Well, you
over
couldn't have him
Kyrie?
and Kyrie.
No.
Head to head.
No.
Pick one.
No,
Would you
I'd
take
still
him?
take Kyrie.
So what's the issue with Kyrie? I mean, look,
Well,
this has been a
it's
very bad season for Kyrie Irving.
It's a team issue, too.
It's a team issue. That just shows you how sick the team is. Because Kyrie Irving is still a top 15.
Is it sick because of Kyrie, though?
I don't
Is
think
it
it's
contagious?
I think there's yes. I think there's some sort of poison in the system that Kyrie has helped create.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Right?
great point.
That
yeah.
wasn't there through the playoffs last
That
year.
wasn't there through the playoffs last year. Now there is a flip side to that stat because it's a completely legitimate stat.
Yeah.
They're also 11-2 in the last 13 games without him. The thing is, they're only sitting against bad teams.
The Clevelands
I
of
know,
the
but
world.
this is
So-
a
The
team. This is a
Knickerbockers.
team, Russ, that is happy to lose to poor teams as they are to tough teams.
Yeah, it's true.
You know what strikes me? He doesn't seem like a Boston guy, like an embraceable grinder.
you know,
For me,
that-
I'm speaking for me. He's not. He's not my kind of guy.
Yeah, but he wins a championship here, and all of a
I
sudden
don't know,
becomes
man.
our type of guy.
You know,
Yeah.
maybe, either Danny or, has said to him, we'd like you to take more of a leadership role this year. Maybe it's not his fault he's fallen flat on his face as a leader. Maybe he's being put up to it.
But Joe, I would argue that just on the court too, he hasn't contributed in a way to contribute
Oh,
to
I agree.
victories. I mean, we can talk about the off the court stuff, and we don't know 99% of that.
I think his numbers are the best numbers he's ever put up, but I agree with you in the sense that he's not the kind of player who makes other players around him better.
Right.
Right. That's the one thing that we've been
That's
finding,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Because I think what ends up happening is these guys stand around and they watch Kyrie. You've
Yeah.
said it. You've gone to these
Yeah.
games and you'll watch these games and you got 4 guys standing around looking at Kyrie.
And he's spectacular. He is a spectacular, talented guy. But his chemistry, there's something wrong out there.
Well,
Yeah,
if you
they're
watch a
almost spiteful about it, too. They're saying, well, if you're going to do that,
Well,
I'm gonna
well,
sit
if you
down
watch
and
a Cavaliers game, a Celtics game last night with the Cavaliers, a big play at the end of the game, about a minute and a half left, you saw it seemed like the whole team on the floor, trying to get loose balls, trying to kick the
Yeah.
ball to the player. You don't see that when Kyrie Irving's on the court.
yeah.
Well,
That's
if
just
we're
a
talking
fact.
about-
I mean, you just don't-
they went almost to the finals last year without him. So, and he walks
Well, it was
in-
a much, much weaker
I know,
East.
I
Yeah.
know, but they still had to get through it. And now he walks back in and says, "Hey, I'm the leader," and everyone's looking at him going like, "Hey, we almost made it to the finals without you. Like, you're just one of us." I think he tries to separate himself from the
But
rest of
Timmy
the team.
brings up a good point a lot. Russ, Brad Stevens, do you think Brad Stevens likes coaching games when Kyrie's not on the court?
I think it's more familiar to him.
Yeah,
right. I
right,
mean,
yeah.
he led this team through last year,
Yeah,
and
good point.
I think he knows the rhythms of that team when Kyrie's on the court better than when he is. But I think it's a systemic problem. Kyrie hasn't helped. He's not the main cause of it, but the pieces don't fit together, and he's a big piece.
Well
Jo-
put.
So, Joe, nobody is a bigger homer in the history of the Boston Celtics, including Johnny Most, than Tommy Heinsohn. We got to give that, right?
Yeah.
That
But he's a Hall of Fame homer.
exactly. He's got the resume to back it up. And I've never seen Tommy, even in the Vinny Baker years, hate a team more than he hates this team.
Yeah, there's no enthusiasm in Tommy's voice, and it's not because of his age.
But I've never seen him so negative. And he says, "Of course we didn't box out because we never box out." I mean, this stuff is just seeping out of him, and so he has a pulse on this team, and he doesn't like him either.
Remember the first thing that Tommy made news with this year was about 10 games in, he called Kyrie fat,
Fat.
basically. And,
Yeah.
and
Pounds overweight.
sat down with Kyrie, and Kyrie took him at his word, and to Kyrie's credit, said, you know what, he's right. I wasn't in the kind of shape I needed to be in.
So, Timmy, were you at the Spurs game?
I was not.
Okay, so Timmy, a season ticket holder, they were booed off the court against the San Antonio Spurs.
I'm booing them from my living room.
Yeah, right.
I mean, they're not. It's not
not
fun
fun.
to watch them.
But
It's-
this is
it's
a
kind of
different-
painful.
Yeah.
But
Like,
Timmy, it's different now because this has been a team that a lot of the fans that go are young and they're having a good time with the jumbotron and stuff, and so the win or lose, they're not really that concerned.
We had
but to see
such-
them boot off the court is huge.
we had such high expectations for this
Yeah.
team, and they have disappointed massively.
Can I ask one question, though? So what percentage of you thinks that when it does get amplified in the playoffs, do you have any hope going into the playoffs that with the amplified energy of the playoffs that they can pull it together and get past themselves?
I always have a fan.
Well, that's a great question, Russ. Yes, if Tom Brady plays. Yeah, that's about it. All right, so boys, I'm good, and I can't believe I'm saying this because I've said the opposite for the last 2 years. But Jason Tatum can go out the door if we can get back Anthony Davis. He's really regressed in a lot of alarming ways. Lack of effort, not willing to play defense, not willing to rebound. This should not be happening to Jason Tatum in his second year.
Yeah,
He's
it's
the
not
one
just
to
his
go.
offense. It's all the other intangibles. Every other part of his game has suffered from just lackadaisical.
But isn't it crazy
Can we
to me
back
that
up
all-
for a second here, though? This kid's, 20 years old, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, Larry Bird didn't come into the league till he was like 24.
That's right.
You know?
I know, but
Let's-
somebody's got to go.
You know-
And, if it's going to be Jalen or Tatum, and it used to be always Jalen,
know,
who goes to
I'm
me,
gonna give
Jalen
you-
or Tatum?
I like Tatum, and I like Jalen, and I think we can keep them both, all right?
We
I
got to
think the
keep both
problem-
if you get
Yeah.
Anthony Davis. For
Well, you know what? Maybe Anthony Davis. This is crazy to
I
say.
think Anthony Davis
I-
might be the key to the recipe for
Get
that
rid of
team.
Get rid of Kyrie.
No.
Let's go with that team and add some new draft picks that we're going to get with that team we went into the playoffs with last year. And I think that this team would have.
Oh,
a
that
future.
team can't compete now.
Those were all young kids.
Russ,
They can't compete though.
Russ, doesn't Kyrie play better? And don't we see a different Kyrie if AD's on the court with him
Yeah.
next year?
Oh,
I
yes.
think, and plus, you're also giving Brad an 7 or 8 person rotation that he could probably work with better than the one that he's had to work with this year, which is 10
Oh, I
guys.
agree. Your whole idea of Kyrie being the second best player on the team, that's the recipe for that
Look,
team.
moving forward, forgetting about max contracts and stuff, the big question is, can Kyrie and Brad coexist successfully on the team? And we'll have to check that out. All right, we're going to next the Boston Red Sox, who won the World Series last year. And boys, they're going to start their season in Seattle tomorrow.
You know, I'd like Brad to spend some time with is Alex Cora. Wouldn't that be a nice little?
Well, he did a little bit.
To be done, which could possibly start a wildfire. How will Smokey deal with such a hot situation? The garden hose defense. Next, a thorough stir. Then another spray. And finally, feeling if the ashes are cool. Oh, yeah. Ah, yes, the selfie. A ritual practiced so frequently with this tribe, but not so much by Smokey Bear.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
All right, boys. So the season starts tomorrow.
Which season is that?
The best season. I have, you know. Look, we're a Red Sox show to begin with. We always have
we'll all
been.
be
Always
covering
been a Red
Section
Sox.
8.
Yeah, exactly. 6 months of the soap opera begins. I can't wait.
This is going to be like extended spring training. Who's going to stay up for the first game? Yeah, opening game. Yeah. After that, they're all start at 10 o'clock at night. No one's going to
I
watch
won't
them.
see if the bullpen comes in and blows games. I won't be awake
Yeah,
to see
right.
it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, the bullpen can get a free pass the first 11 games.
might
You're not
need
going to watch it. Yeah.
Yeah, there'll be an incognito mode out there.
Okay, so bullpen statistics that just are remarkable. The Red Sox payroll but the bullpen constitutes 4%, $8 million for the 7 guys in the bullpen. Absolutely ludicrous. I mean, when you're talking about budgets, how can you go that low for such a key, important
I'm
position?
terrified right now of this bullpen. Terrified.
You should be, because I don't even know who's coming out first.
They're spending more at first base for
When's
a
the
couple
last
of.
time a team went anywhere without a bona fide closer?
Well, the only thing that I would say in their defense is it's the most fixable part of a baseball team, right? It is the
Yeah,
most fixable.
right.
Like
You pick up cast-offs.
3-4 weeks into the season, you can start to fix that problem.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
I'm talking
Whereas-
about the closer, the guy in the ninth.
But also, you know,
One-run lead.
you guys in
There's-
Pawtucket, the young pitchers and stuff, you can bring them up.
There's
too.
40 guys in Major League Baseball
Yeah.
who can close, right?
Yeah.
Which means there's multiple teams that have 2 closers on them. You could fix that problem in May.
And we understand the closer in the playoffs is going to be the starter that's not pitching.
It's till we get there. Though,
That's,
that I'm
that
worried
is the
about.
recipe. You can bet they have planned that recipe again for 2019 if they get into
Yeah,
the
they
playoffs.
just want to get there.
Yeah.
Just get us there and we'll work it.
Okay, so we'll go over the bullpen. Matt Barnes, Ryan Brazier, Heath Hembry, Hector Velasquez, and it gets worse as I go on. Brian
doesn't
Johnson,
start out good.
Tyler Thornburg, and Brandon Workman. Oh,
Did you miss Brewer? It didn't.
and Colton Brewer, you're
Yeah.
right. Absolutely. Oh, that's a shock.
How
I would
about
miss
Puino?
Colton Brewer.
I don't think Colton Brewer's wife would have remembered
right.
him on that
I
stuff.
mean, seriously, that not one guy in that bullpen may make the Yankees bullpen.
You know what's sad? Like
You
Joe
know, right?
Kelly.
Yeah.
Joe Kelly would look so good right now.
Oh, well, Joe Kelly, yeah, I'm not
But
going
I'm
to.
talking about
Well,
a guy
and
who
Travis
were bashing
Lakins
last
didn't make
year,
the
and I
trip
mean,
north.
I know if Joe Kelly comes, we're going to be looking in those Dodgers stats and see if Joe Kelly comes out hot. Look, Craig Kimbrell is still available, Joe.
Yeah, it's the same bullpen as last year without the 9th inning and without the 8th inning.
what is going to happen with
You,
Kimbrel?
you got to fill. It's not just the closer. You got to fill the 8th inning too.
Well, that's a great question.
Joe
Timmy.
Kelly.
I think if Kimbrel hangs around for a week or two, and if the Red Sox have problems, the Red Sox are going to fork out probably the $17 million that they offered him initially.
Which is really 30.
Look, John Henry is not going to give up the season because of cash right now. He knows he has this window. He's going to take advantage of it. If he has to pay extra dough,
that's like gassing up the yacht.
At this point in time, Kimbrel's smart to wait to see whose bullpen implodes.
Someone's going to blow up in the first 2 weeks, and they're going to press the
Red
panic
Sox,
button, and they're going to sign him.
Or anyone else.
Especially a team like the Phillies, where they've spent so much. If they start to go south, they'll go try to fix it quick.
That's right.
So everything's going the way the Red Sox want it. They have a catcher's problem. They have 3 catchers. They cut Sandy Leon, and because nobody picks him up, they get to store him in Pawtucket.
Maybe.
No, he's got a $2.5 million contract.
He's not getting
If he doesn't
$2
go to Pawtucket, he's got 0. Okay, he's going to Pawtucket. Perfect case scenario, right, Russ?
Right, and you can now go to Chris Sale and say, look, if things go haywire, we'll bring your boy Sandy Leon back up to catch you.
Yeah, and Timmy, Swihart and Vasquez aren't exactly the healthiest guys during the course of the season.
No.
Most likely, Sandy Leon's going to be back in the big league team.
How does that? Do they get any salary cap relief from him going
No.
down?
No. Because this is not a Rusty
If another
Castillo
team
thing.
had picked him up. Yeah.
No, right, but he is part
on the
of
Major League roster.
Yeah, he's on the Major League roster.
Yeah, they closed that Rusty Castillo loophole. You can't do that anymore.
I love him defensively and how he
Roger
handles the
Goodell
pitches.
did that.
Yeah.
He's just a black hole in the lineup offensively. So
All right, so boys, the storyline we're looking most forward to as fans as the season goes on. Anybody?
Red Sox go the first 20 games undefeated.
No, I have one. I'm really, really interested to see whether the good feeling that David Price had at the end of last year, and the players, remember, he pitched Game 5, and it was a courageous performance. Does that carry over?
Right. And look, there's plenty of slack for David Price, please. If he has a bad start or two, don't start ripping into
Just
David
how
Price.
much slack, Scott?
I think
for you.
No, for me, he's got 10 starts.
But what if they?
I mean, come on, let's not go crazy.
That's not that much.
I don't know. If they come back from the West Coast 4-7, and he lost 2 stats.
I
Come on.
I
We
think the
gotta-
big story's got to be, is J.D. Martinez again?
Well, that's
It's a
there you
career-
go. That's a
this
great
is
one.
a contract year for
Is
him.
he,
Yeah.
and if he is, that helps Mookie be Mookie again.
You remember he had a slow start last year. He started slow, but and of course, I had
He was
Jack-
a bust. Year last
Jack-
year.
Yeah, you had him.
The
Had him out
word
of town.
was he's a bust.
Those tapes have been destroyed.
I don't
Russ.
remember
They're
having to
destroyed.
him out on a rail.
They're like the Watergate tapes. They're gone.
25 at bats. He's a bust.
Jack Clark,
He's out of
like-
shape.
Jack Clark had a really good season. All right, boys, I mentioned Sam Travis last week to absolute silence at you because I just wanted to give him a shout out.
Yeah.
But because Steve Pierce is going to start the year in the injured list, look who's making the team but Sam Travis.
No.
Yeah, the biggest guy who can't hit a home run in the history of Major League Baseball.
The biggest singles hitter of all time.
It's really unbelievable how big he is
Right.
and how little power he hits.
Yeah.
How big is he?
He's like
Huge.
6'3",
Yeah, but
6'4".
he's like Gronk looking,
Right.
right? He doesn't wear batting gloves.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy, you just think he's just going to crush the ball. And he's
Paul
an
Bunyan
absolute
up there.
stiff. All right, before we go to the break, Ryan Bergier, who I've got to cut his pinky toe off, had to go to court with his 8-year-old kid because his 8-year-old kid had too much school loss because of the World Series. Ooh. Texas is just bizarre. All right, we're going to go to the break, and we're going to go to the big bad Bruins, who are playing well other than the Tampa Bay game.
It's more like the big good Bruins.
They played pretty good in that game, too.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
All right, we come back to the big bad Bruins. And we've been giving the Bruins so much love.
So much love.
I saw Hollywood Pete today and said, you got to come back. We're giving the Bruins as much love as we possibly can. All right, tough loss against the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Rockhold too, though.
Yeah, right. I have to admit that. Yeah, right. I have to admit that at 4-2. They were playing so well after the second period.
Shame on
I
you.
turned it off, and to the next day to find out they lost 5-4.
Tampa's like the Flying Frenchman in the 1970s.
They look like the Soviet
Canadians.
Red Army
Unbelievable.
team out there. I mean,
That's a great
if
point.
I heard shot by Kucherov, shot by Kucherov, shot by, that guy is the real deal.
And those
Oh,
two
yeah.
goals that Stamkos scored.
Oh, pure snipes.
Okay, so it wasn't Tuukka's fault. You can't.
Tuukka
was
let
a
him
lot.
out soft.
Tuukka didn't do anything. You can't let him off. He didn't make the big save either. They weren't. They were tough. They were tough goals, but he didn't make.
Last night
it
we
show.
had Timmy's Tuukka. The Tuukka that makes Timmy nervous was last night. Wasn't horrible, but gave up with the soft goal.
That's one you don't expect. You
Yeah.
know,
Because we can't lose a game, fellas, without blaming Tuukka. It's not possible.
Well, let me
Because
tell
the
you,
other guy, not Brandon Carlo,
He's
giving
the
up,
guy standing by
the puck.
himself.
No,
this Tampa team
They're
is
good.
as good as I've seen in a long time.
And they got goaltending to boot.
Yeah, McAvoy made a mistake. Carlo made a mistake.
McAvoy, look, he just
Right.
ran out of gas out there.
And they ran out of gas last
and look, it's going to be a problem. Tampa is going to open up against the Canadians, and they're going to end up sweeping them.
They are going to
We'll
wipe
Which we will love.
Yeah,
with the Canadians.
and then all of a sudden we're going to have a tough series against Toronto. And if we come out of it and it's a 6-7 game series, advantage Tampa even more.
We have 3 defensemen coming back off the
Yeah.
injured list.
Yeah, that's
So
that's
we
a
hung,
big
we,
deal.
we hung, we beat them.
Yeah.
And we almost
Borderline
beat them.
tied them,
Without 3 of our top
Yeah.
defensemen. So
Yeah.
You know, last week we talked about the game passing David Backes by, right? And, you know, looks like obviously Zdeno Chara is like 100 years old. The game has passed him by most likely, but we signed him to a 1-year extension, pretty much at the minimum veteran salary.
I don't know about you, though. I always feel more secure when Chara's out there.
yeah, I mean, he's not going to win any foot races, that's
Yeah.
for sure. But he does a lot out there.
He is a
And I know
presence.
he has a lot of detractors. He's amongst the best in the penalty kill in the league.
But it was a
doesn't
signing
like-
to me. It was a signing because he wants to continue to play.
And he'll get a lot of
Not-
ice time. He'll
He's
continue
the
to get a
captain.
lot of ice time. And I
Yeah.
think he brings a lot of good leadership. And I'm in love with this team right now. I got to be truthful with you. I mean, they are the anti-Boston Celtics right now. They're a team
right.
you love to root for.
Yeah.
Well, because this is a tough guy team, right? The
They're
Nola
good
Karis that fight
These
a
guys,
few
like,
games
I mean,
ago.
every guy's back checking. They're hustling. Charlie Coyle's starting to find his groove now.
But at the same time, they also have high-end talent in Bergeron, Marchand, Pasternak.
That first
right?
line is as good as any line in the league.
It's a great combination of an elite line, the best line in the league,
fun to
with a
watch.
bunch of grinders.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
All right, so I didn't bring the hat today, but the Boston Sports Medium has come, and we're here. Here we go. Paging Chad Fox, opening day 2003, Tampa Bay Rays blowing big lead, if you
Blowtorch.
remember.
Oh, that was horrible.
That's when we were doing the bullpen by committee when Brookline's Theo Epstein was still around.
So we may
It
panic.
has,
We may panic in the first blown save of the
We
year.
might.
Just-
this week has that feeling of big lead blown by bullpen, everybody
if
panicking.
the first 3 games are that closer blows it, there's going to be freaking pandemonium in this city.
Well, we're catching Seattle coming back from Japan. Maybe they'll be the ones tied.
So I'm buying, not selling, that Chad Fox's name will be brought up a lot this week. So
Could be right.
So we brought it up first. Mitch Moreland will be a lefty specialist within the first week. If you remember, Mitch Moreland can throw 90 plus from the left side. We don't even have a lefty. Brian Johnson's a joke. So you watch. Mitch Moreland's going to pitch in the first week.
Well, they're
of the season.
getting ready for that new 3-batter rule.
Do we
They're gonna
respond
be ahead of the
to
game.
these medium pronouncements?
Yeah, well, of course you can.
That's
No.
crazy. Next one.
Why
Yeah.
is that crazy?
Because he's their starting first baseman.
Well, no,
We're
no.
so Mitch Moreland goes in
And Pierce is on the injured list.
blows and gets a Tommy John injury in the first week. And what's the first thing Scott Kerman's going to say?
He shouldn't have been pitching. Again, it was the Boston Sports Medium. All right, Gronk gets screwed in Hollywood. He goes to Hollywood and he gets screwed very quickly. Russ and I have spent time in Hollywood, and you get
There's
screwed
a lot of
quickly.
screwing going on in
And
Hollywood.
he returns
I need
to
to
the
go there.
Patriots week 12.
Yeah.
Week 10.
I'm with you.
calling week 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
End of October.
Circumventing the pup list.
Yeah.
His agent brought it up every interview, unsolicited, every time.
And circumventing not only the pup list, the salary cap, and anything else, the rest of the league will be screened.
There'll be a new Gronk rule after this.
No, there will be.
Pissing Roger Goodell off, which is
One more
it's
time.
much fun. All right, boys, that's our show for tonight. Want to thank the fellas. Want to thank everyone behind the scenes. William, the intern,
Thanks,
taking
William.
care of the
Yeah.
show.
He's a star.
Going solo back there.
Please check us on our website at thegrandstanders.com and tune in on Friday night at 9 o'clock for
9:30.
Dirty Water Friday Night Live.
9:30,
9 o'clock.
9.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah. For the Grandstanders Live. All right, my name is Scott Kerman. Have a great and happy night. I'm Scott Kerman. Have a great and happy night. The elephants are in town.
Here comes the circus.